Picked up some late season snow, not quite enough because we're hitting historic low snow in this year. I'm ABC 10 Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods. We're going to break it all down as we continue to see a nice spring shower coming through, but also a wrap up on the snow season with our fourth and final snow survey taking place at Phillips Station today. You can see this is the picture. They were trying to dig what they could with that snow tube into the ground and some snowpack. With snow actually falling out there, the Department of Water Resources conducting that fourth and final snow survey on this April 1st. But it was kind of, unfortunately, no April Fools because it was the second lowest, it looks like, when things are all said and done, going to be the second lowest snowpack for the April snow survey. Here's a look at how the 2026 snow surveys have gone. Really started off with some great numbers. October, November, big players for the season with above average precipitation at Phillips Station where they do that snow survey. We were at 50% of our average, 71% statewide. Then December, January fell off the map in terms of bringing and delivering any sort of measurable and significant rain and snowfall. February was decent enough. It at least brought up those numbers slightly for our statewide average to 66%. But you can see how things wrapped up here with the fourth snow survey, 0% at Phillips Station and statewide average at 18%. This is a comprehensive view here of the Sierra snow water equivalent. If we were to melt all that snow down, how much water would we be able to get out of that snowpack? Only 6% for the northern Sierra and Trinity. Central Sierra, 21% of average, and then the Southern Sierra, 32%. And that's what combined gives us that 18% for our statewide average. These are really important numbers, too. Let me go ahead and play out the key takeaways from today's snow survey of that frozen reservoir up in the Sierra. Second lowest April measurement that the Department of Water Resources has conducted. The lowest was back in 2015 when it was basically dirt up there. Snow melted off very quickly, months ahead of schedule because of some March heat, and we'll detail some of those records that took place last month. Now, Carla Nemeth, the Department of Water Resources Chief Manager, is saying we need to focus on our aging infrastructure, really adjusting for the timing and type of precipitation that we get in the Sierra because, oddly enough, we ended up near average for our precipitation in the Sierra, but that was more driven by rain than snow. And our infrastructure is set up to hold the melting snowpack. You know, it's that frozen reservoir that melts slowly, and we're able to feed our reservoirs very slowly throughout the course of the spring season. But instead, that snowpack melted off very quickly this year. And a big contributor for that was this record-setting March. You can see starting on March 15th how we hit a number of record highs. In fact, we hit 10 consecutive, but that was followed up by more 80s in the forecast. As of last weekend, we were still marking record highs. 88 on Sunday before we fell off to temperatures in the 70s. Still warmer than average, though. Our average high is 69 degrees. So all of the middle and end of March, we were setting above average pace for those afternoon highs. That consecutive daily record high of 10 you just saw there was actually not just a March record. That's an all-time record of seeing consecutive daily record highs for any month out of the year. The last time we had a consecutive stretch that hit records was 5 days in a row back in 2022. That was over Labor Day when we had those 100+ degree temperatures. So this March kind of was a little bit disarming in the fact that it was 80+ degree temperatures that were setting record highs. But it shouldn't be understated how critical it is to keep note of how many days we had of record highs, and that this was happening in March. Temperatures that we normally see in May. We were about 2 months ahead of pace, and that's what contributed to part of that snow melt as well. Let's go over a couple more records that we hit in March. It was a record number of the most 80-degree days in the month of March. 14. The previous record was 7. And a new record for consecutive 80+ degree days, not necessarily all record setters, but we hit 11. So we hit 11 days of 80+ degree temperatures. It's just that that last day wasn't a record setter. The previous amount of consecutive 80-degree days in the month of March, 6, and those records go all the way back to 1878. I'm not done, folks. We got more records to talk about here. In Sacramento, it was the warmest average temperature, so combined lows and highs of 64 degrees. And if you look at all the temperatures for afternoon highs in the month of March, warmest on record, 78.4 degrees. It was also the third warmest for average lows at 49.7 degrees, seventh driest with 0.14 of an inch of rain. That all came yesterday for the last day of March. We were about to get another record for the month of March with the driest on record. The rainy season usually picks up in December, January, and February, continues into March. But this year, most of the biggest gains were in October and November, where we got off to a big start for the water year, and then everything fizzled. Like I said, February was a decent enough player for us, but then March absolutely did not deliver. No miracle March this year. Only 0.14 of an inch of rain. And again, that came on the last day of March because we were about to tack on another record there. I want to show you the 8-station index. This is the Northern Sierra, and we've got a couple of lines here. What I want to point out is it really is important to look at multi-years for the Sierra snowpack because we have this storage system with our reservoirs that can hold year after year water if we get enough of surface water that we're not really relying so much on our reservoir. So there's a little bit of a buffer here. And I want to show you these particular lines because a couple of the previous years here were huge numbers for us. For the 8-station index, this is going to be for the Northern Sierra, where our biggest reservoirs are for the state. And we operate as a state, helping to feed the southern part of the state, where we rely on 75% of the water usage, whereas 75% of the precipitation falls north of Sacramento, and that's where those biggest reservoirs are. So again, that's why I'm pointing out the 8-station index for the Northern Sierra. 2014-2015, that was going to be our minimum, and that's kind of where we're riding right here. I just mentioned a moment ago that the lowest April snow survey was in 2015, and we're very close to where we are right here for the Northern Sierra. But what I want to point out is the previous years coming into this year, 2024-25, that's going to be in the yellow line here, pretty close to our average. It's just that we melted off quickly again. So that's why we're really looking at the infrastructure. Is it set up for this changing type of climate that we're in, with more rain than snow falling in the Sierra in years? 2023-24, pretty decent player again, above average, but it melted off quicker than what we normally see. And then 2022-23, that's this brown line that you see, well ahead of average, didn't melt off so quickly, and we were able to put big storage numbers into our reservoirs. So that's where I want to head next, is to our reservoirs, and we're sitting above average. Most of the reservoirs about 85 to 90% full. Modern technology is allowing water managers to have a little bit more flexibility with keeping the water in instead of releasing, knowing when those big atmospheric rivers are going to come in. We still have a ways to go. I know that we're not quite there yet, but at least we have a little bit more flexibility, allowing some older rules to be rewritten based on a lot of work actually being done in conjunction with the Department of Water Resources and the CW3E. That's Scripps out of Southern California, working to really fine-tune some of these weather models so we know how much water we can keep in when these atmospheric rivers are making their way into Northern California. If they head north or south, you know, that gives us a little more flexibility. We don't have to release the water for fear of flooding. We are getting some recent snow. We picked up almost about a foot of snow for many of the ski resorts. We'll get new numbers again for tomorrow, kind of closing up this recent storm that we're looking at. And some decent rainfall as well. About 2+ inches for much of the foothills, and then about 1/4 inch to almost an inch of rain by the time this weather system rolls out of here for Thursday. For the valley, that's decent enough for a kickoff to our April season. Some April showers to start us off this month. Weather timeline heading into an Easter weekend that's going to be quite warm. We clear those showers on Thursday, Friday, breezy, as well as Saturday and warmer. And then we're right back to highs in the 80s, putting us about 10 to almost 15 degrees above average for our Easter Sunday. It's going to be quite a warm one out there, and we're going to stay pretty much in this warmer, drier phase once we get through this weather system coming through right now. It's a pretty decent atmospheric river, cold punch of air coming through as well. We've had some decent thunderstorms in Northern California. We're going to bring in the last of the rain overnight tonight through early Thursday. Some snow showers hanging on there for the high country, and then that low pressure system moves out, high builds back in, breezy weather in between that transition, and then it's all about that high pressure ridge for Saturday and Sunday, bringing us back to highs in the 80s. Our average high is 69 degrees. We're going to be right around 10 to 15 degrees above that both Saturday and Sunday, with the mid-month outlook likely warmer and likely drier again for Northern California. So now water managers are going to kind of have their hands full as we head into the drier part of our year, and really trying to preserve as much water as we can, as well as serving the public needs through the dry summer months. 40s up top for the Sierra, 50s and low 60s down low for the foothills and the Sierra, 60s as we head towards the coast and for inland areas. This is going to put us right about where we should be this time of year, if not a few degrees below that. But enjoy it, because look at this, we're right back into the 60s by the time we say hello to Easter Sunday for the mountains, for the foothills, close to 80 and close to 80 as well for the Bay Area. Turning our attention to that extended forecast, we've got 60s for our Thursday. We are right back with that climb and temperatures for the weekend, with highs in the 80s, 70s and 80s, making our way through the first full week of April.